A hard thing to do is to also, watch athletes kind of leave and go someplace else. And you had that happen this offseason with some of the athletes who had been, with you. What were those conversations like, if you even had them, before those moves were made?
The honest answer, there's not a lot of conversation before, because I'm not. It's not like every week I'm like, so are you going to leave?
Yeah, right.
So this week, do you think you're going to leave after the games? There are conversations where you start to set up and plan for the next season. And during those conversations, I haven't had much of a heads up that they weren't going to be here. And maybe that's my fault as a coach for not digging hard enough or having my pulse on it enough. But there wasn't a lot of lead up conversations, which I think is pretty normal for high level sports. No one goes like, so Tom, are you going to be moving to Tampa Bay? I know that we still have 6 games left, but after the season, what do you think? Are you going to leave for Tampa Bay? Like, yeah. I get it. We have the Bills coming up this week, but what about Tampa Bay? It's like, it's just not, you're focused on this training session, this week, the next competition. And you save those conversations for the end of the season. Now, at the end of the season, we have them. And that's where they take different forms and shapes, but there's always a kind of constant through line, which is, if they want to go and explore something else, like, go for it. Like, go and explore something else. Like, the most important thing is that you're doing what you feel is the best for you. Like, that's it. And I think whenever I'm not shy about talking about this at all. And I think people feel like there must be something more. There must be like, they don't like Ben, or Ben doesn't like them, or something like that. And it couldn't be farther from it. Like, yeah, Katrin spent the day with us like 3 weeks ago. It's like, my daughter, 2 of my daughters and my wife like went out to spend like the girls' day with her. It's like one of my youngest daughters still calls her sister. It's like there's nothing. Now, could there have been more? Of course, but that's the situation always. In hindsight, there always could have been a more accurate shot, but that's in hindsight that you have after the fact. During the fact, I'm trying to give them the best opportunity that I possibly can.
You mentioned maybe you didn't have your finger on the pulse. When that stuff happens, what sort of reflection do you do and think, what can I do differently now moving forward to either minimize this stuff, or you're never going to eliminate it, but just make sure that maybe it doesn't happen again?
Well, there's always that after action report, but it's going to happen again. Like it will. Like this is my 15th year going to the CrossFit Games. Like, I've been a coach for 15 years. For someone to go, no, every single athlete you have to coach has to be a career thing. Like, unless you're married to them, that's probably not going to be the case. Like, it's probably, if you play the game long enough, it's going to happen. Now, it's not to say that the goal isn't to hold on to them, and that's not what you want. And I have done, like with Cole, and and that's the hope that I do have, is that I have these guys forever. And that's the way I approach it. But I'm also a realist and understand that there's a lot of moving pieces in the universe, and I'm probably not going to be able to influence everything. So I'm going to accept the first level of the after action is radical acceptance, which is what I espouse to all of my athletes all the time. When something is challenging for you, when you're going through something that you don't like, when events are not lining up with your expectations, the first thing we need to do is try our best not to story tell about it, which is what most of us do. Most of us, when something doesn't happen the way we want it to, we story tell. We like to assign blame to something. We say, woe is me. We assign blame to me. Or we say, if this, only this or that. And it's what we're doing in that instance is storytelling. And storytelling is drama. And what we're doing is we're elevating the melodrama in our own lives. So the challenge I always put to my athletes is like, can we move past that, elevate our own mindset a little bit and be a realist and understand the actual happenings that are going on? And that's what the after action ends up becoming. Like, how much time should I be spending with the athletes on a daily basis? What should the training look like? What should we be doing in terms of focusing on the way we approach the games? What sort of opportunities should we be doing? Should we be training offsite? Should we be talking on a daily basis, on a hourly basis? So there's a lot that goes into questioning everything. And you hope that you ask the right questions, you come up with some answers, and you iterate and improve.
Mm-hmm. And you've been through multiple iterations. Like you mentioned, this is going to be your 15th year at the games. It's crazy to hear that. Just thinking about that over the years. And having gone through a few cycles of this, what do you think really dictates the lifespan, besides maybe just performance, but what dictates the lifespan of a coach-athlete relationship?
I would say performance and relationship. And relationships are founded on trust. So it's those two things. And that trust can be established a number of different ways. Results being number one.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the beast. You know, I'm a big fan of John Maxwell's levels of leadership. And basically it's like you establish trust by, first and foremost, the first way is like, the reason you're a leader is because you're the coach. Like, you have the title, coach. So they listen to you, but there's no buy-in, there's no trust, there's no actual relationship. The next is that they like you, that they literally, like, I like spending time with you, and that's important, but that's a really pretty low level. And above that is that you've gotten results for other people. So that's a results-driven coach. You've gotten results for other people. Well, the fourth level of that is personal results. You've gotten results for that athlete. So those two things of like the relationship and the trust are so intertwined that you can't separate the two. So no matter how deep and meaningful the relationship is, the athlete results are going to speak volumes, and then vice versa is, it's important. We've gotten incredible results for a lot of our athletes. We had double-digit world champions. I'm super proud of that. As of 2 years ago, we had second place finish on the male and female side in the same year. We've gotten really, really strong performances. All of our athletes continue to try, with the exception of Chandler last year and Sam the year before, both having, environmental issues. They're getting to the games, they're performing. So I think that the extra scrutiny comes from kind of like understanding that, where I've been is I've gotten people to the top, and that's the expectation. It's like the Yankees. If the Yankees have a season where they win the pennant and lose in the ALCS, like, that's a bad year. And that's a responsibility that we have based off of the expectations that we've set for ourselves, and what everyone else has of us is we should be building champions. And that's what the goal is. And if we come up short of that, there's probably going to be some changes.
Tommy and I have talked about this, and in other sports, and you even brought this up, with Tom Brady. In other sports, we just accept the fact that athletes change, coaches change, they change locations. It's just part of the natural state of things. And I think we're still kind of getting used to that in this sport as coaches continue to come on the scene, training camps continue to grow. What do you think the natural state of an off season eventually is going to look like? And I hope that makes sense.
Well, I understand the perspective because Tom Brady has played in the NFL for 25 years. our sport, that's one player playing his professional sport for 25 years. Our sport's only been around for 17, like the entirety of the sport.
Right.
So we're so still, we just don't recognize this because we're in it and we're so passionate about it and we care about it so much and we've seen the growth, but we're at the infancy. Like if we were BMX biking, like people still wouldn't be doing backflips. And now they're doing doubles and triples. Like it's still new to us. So the normal life cycle of an athlete and an off season and what camps look like and coach athlete relationships has yet to be determined. So, I mean, you guys probably talk to more people in the space than I do, and you guys might have more insight into that than I do. But if the normal professional CrossFit athlete has a 4 to 5 year window, which seems to be kind of like the thing, there's the outliers for sure that can do this for a decade, or a baker's dozen, but it seems like 4 or 5 games appearances is a really impressive career. I think that it would be normal to expect that an athlete would be with a singular coach for those 4 or 5 years. I think that would be normal. Assuming that the first coach that gets them to the first one has the wherewithal to be that type of a coach. Because I think a lot of people get there riding, being led and guided by their hometown coach, for lack of a better term, the one at their affiliate. And then once they're there, they're like, whoa, I'm a pro. And once they're a pro, they need professional coaching. And then for that athlete to go for the next 5 or 6 years in a singular camp with a singular coach seems to make sense. I don't think it's going to be abnormal for athletes to go and experience 2 or 3 years of that and go, maybe not for me. There's more options. Maybe I'll go and check out something else, what's going on somewhere else. And that quote free agency that exists in other sports might become more of the norm. I think that's a very real possibility.
Thanks so much for watching our video. Be sure to comment below, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one. Follow us on Instagram at Talking Elite Fitness. Be sure to subscribe to get all of our audio episodes when they drop on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.